Hi, in this tutorial series we are going to create a map for Wolfenstein enemy territory using Garux NetRadiant from start to finish. This map will serve as a tutorial for new players trying to learn the mechanics in the game, as well as new mappers wanting to learn how to create the most common objective types and entity setups. If you want to create a map, it is very useful to start with a layout sketch similar to what you can see here in the upper left corner. For that, your regular squared paper comes in very handy because it actually makes the transition into the grid-based gradient later on a lot easier. It is also helpful to search for reference images for structures and buildings in your map early on. That way, we get a feeling for what the end result may look like, and we always have a clear design in mind that we can work towards. Right, so let us quickly go through our plans for this tutorial so we can understand what the map will be all about. This little orange house will be our gatehouse, which you can see in our layout sketch up here as well. Down here you can see the reference image that we want to use for it. In this gatehouse, the player will spawn as an allied engineer with the gates being closed. The player will first have to construct a door generator located at this wall and activate a lever to open the gates. After that, the player can proceed to the outside world where they encounter a broken down truck that needs repairing. Once repaired, the player will escort the truck along the valley until they reach a dynamitable truck barrier around here. Having been escorted past the barrier, the truck will be shot down in this curve by an artillery gun located across the canyon. By being shot at, the player takes damage and is instructed to build a command post in this little house right here. This house is going to look something like this, so partly covered by the mountain range above. Inside, we have our command post as well as health and ammo cabinets which the player can use to top off their resources. The command post also enables a forward spawn which will prove useful in just a second. The player has now learned how to use their pliers to repair vehicles and construct objectives around the map. They also learned how to use their dynamite to destroy barricades. After learning the most important mechanics of the engineer class, the player is asked to kill out and respawn as a field ops. Now, as long as the artillery gun across the canyon is operational, we cannot proceed with our truck. That is why the player is asked to call in an artillery strike onto its position to take it down. After that, the player is introduced to the quick chat menu by having to call for an engineer. An allied Omnibot engineer will approach and repair the two-tiered bridge across the canyon, which will look roughly like in the reference image down here. Once that is done, the player and Omnibot will proceed to escort the truck. While doing that, the Omnibot will request ammo, which the player needs to dispense using their ammo packs. The canyon will look something along the lines of this reference image. Unfortunately, of course, we cannot use as many trees in this old engine, but nonetheless, we are roughly aiming for something like this. The player has now learned how to call in an artillery strike and dispense ammo as a field ops, and has also received an introduction to the quick chat menu and the team play aspect in this game. Once across the bridge, the player is asked to kill out again and respawn as a covered ops to provide sniper cover for the advancing truck. The player is going to snipe a few Axis Omnibots along the way. Then, the player is asked to spot landmines that have been reported in this area. Once that is done, the allied Omnibot engineer will begin to defuse the landmines. Unfortunately, due to being a bit clumsy, the allied Omnibot is going to die to one of them. The drawbridge into the castle is closed, so the player can't proceed further down this road and has to find another route. This will be possible through a side tunnel right here, but first let's have a closer look at what we want our castle to look like. You can see our castle area up here in our layout sketch. We have a smaller tower in front, a straight main building behind it, and an angled building which will contain our primary objective. Then we have another building going orthogonal and a little patio at the end. Here you can see that we want our castle to be surrounded by an extended mountain range, and lastly, the view of the castle from directly outside. Right, In order to get into the castle, the player is going to steal a uniform from one of the players they previously killed to get through a team door, allowing entrance to this side tunnel. Inside this tunnel, the player will find a minecart mounted to a standard railway system, which will take them to the other side of the tunnel and into the castle. After our standard mineshaft design, we will get to a transition into the castle, which will look roughly like this. Inside the castle, we have a door generator which the player can destroy with a satchel charge in order to open the drawbridge. The player will also have to capture a forward spawn flag to enable another spawn, which will come in handy in just a second. The player now knows how to use the Covert Ops class to provide cover to teammates, spot landmines, disguise themselves to enter restricted areas, and use their satchel charge to destroy objectives. They have also learned that the engineer can defuse planted landmines. The player is asked to kill out and respawn as a medic. First things first, the player has to leave the castle and revive the allied Omnibot engineer who previously died to the landmine. The first syringe only revives with half the health, so the player has to top the teammate off with their med packs. That concludes all the mechanics the player has to learn for the medic class, so they can focus on doing the objective now, which, after all, the medic is all about. Both allies will escort the truck into the castle and park it right here. Then the player is asked to steal the primary objective, which is located in the angled room in the back, right here. This room will look like this image from Wolfenstein, with the objective being placed on the table in front. Once the objective is secured safely on the back of the truck, the player can see an Axis Tiger tank approaching from the distance. That means that the player cannot leave the castle with the truck yet. So the player is asked to kill out one last time and respawn as a soldier with a Panzerfaust. With a Panzerfaust, the player can take out the Tiger tank in the distance. Lastly, the player has to switch weapons to a mobile MG42 placed on a table around here, set up defensive position on the back of the truck, and mow down Axis Omnibots while the truck is leaving the castle. Carrying heavy weaponry and providing suppressing fire is what the soldier is all about. This concludes the gameplay plan of the tutorial. In the next part, we are going to have a look into the difference of structural and detail brushes, how the engine processes visibility, and when and how to use hint brushes. After the next part, our map is going to look something like this.